Welcome to today's video. I am Tay. I'm an indie author obsessed with all things bookish. I had planned on doing this video for a while now. Let's just say I'm a lot closer to my reading goal than I was when I thought of doing this video, but that's a good thing. I originally wanted to read 50 books this year. When I started filming this video, I was at 115. It's safe to say that I surpassed that goal, and I actually changed my reading goal. Once I hit about like 100 books, I changed it to 120. Now we have to hit 120 before the end of the year, and I have been in a reading slump. I've been working pretty hard on my book Venture Beyond, which comes out January 18th of 2025. If you want to check it out, that is the second book in the Venture series. The first book is Venture Below, which came out in 2021. Don't ask me why it's taken me so long to write the second one. We don't talk about it. I do post a lot of writing content, so if you're curious or interested in what it's like being an indie author, make sure to subscribe. But today we are talking about reading, and I've been in a slump for quite a while now. It's time we just get over it and read these books. We are going to jump into reading our first book of the video, which is This Is a Love Story. As you just saw, I finished This Is a Love Story literally 5 seconds ago, and I have some thoughts. I came to this realization when I started reading it today. It's too long, is I think what the problem is. There are two other perspectives in this book that I kind of feel were unnecessary to the story. Had this been like a novella, a short story, I honestly think it would have had more impact, because I can't like say stuff without spoiling the book, so I can't really give too much detail, but it softened the impact I think the book could have had, and possibly those two perspectives could have been a reason why I feel that way. There's too much I didn't enjoy to give it a 5-star. I don't know. I think the writing is really, really beautiful. It got a little too repetitive towards the end, to the point where I was getting really bored. Those are my thoughts on it. I can talk more about it later, but my camera battery is dead, and I think I need a little bit to really think on what I just read. So yeah, I honestly don't even remember what I said in that clip. What I can tell you is this could have been great. There was just so much in the middle that to me felt unnecessary to build the characters, I think, in the way that the author wanted them to be, but the writing was so stunning, you guys. I really wish this wasn't an advanced reader's copy so that I could read you some of the lines, because I did highlight and underline so much, because this read a lot more like poetry than actual literary fiction, if that makes sense. This is definitely a book about the ups and downs of a marriage, what takes place in the 50 years that they are together. I think that if you're somebody who has been dealt a pretty heavy blow when it comes to losing someone you love, this could really impact you. But on the other hand, I didn't love the way that this handled a certain trope. I had a very hard time staying connected to a certain character. I'm really trying not to spoil anything, as you can tell. I had a really hard time staying connected to a character that I loved in the beginning, especially after this trope happened. I just couldn't take anything they were saying seriously or believe them at all, which I think is the point. But when you pair it with the type of writing and I think the way that you're supposed to feel, it missed for me. So I think this had a lot of potential. You may like this if you're somebody who likes literary fiction and a deep dive into the psyche of people that are in a marriage and are really going through it. This deals with postpartum after having a child. I have not had a child. I don't know what it's like to have gone through that, so I can't really tell you if this was represented correctly or not, but those are my thoughts on This Is a Love Story. I ended up giving that one, I think, 3.5, just because of how good the writing actually was in that. Next up is a book that I barely filmed anything of, and that is We Contain Multitudes. I picked this up on a whim. Wholeheartedly. I just grabbed it out of my bookshelf. I thought it would be like the easiest thing, and especially after reading This Is a Love Story, I wanted something a little lighter, and I think this is young adult, so I went with this. We Contain Multitudes is about two boys. The boy on the top is Joe, and the boy on the bottom is Adam. Joe is an openly gay teenage boy, and he is a sophomore in their high school. This makes me feel really uncomfortable, And Adam down here is, I'm pretty sure, a repeating senior, which means he failed to graduate in his senior year and repeated the year. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? They strike up a little romance. I could not get past that age gap. It felt very weird and strange, especially in some of the context in which they described Joe. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of it. But what I was a fan of was the very beginning. Like, up until a certain encounter, we'll say, which also made me feel very uncomfortable. It's all about the context, okay? That made me feel uncomfortable. After that event, things just kind of take a weird turn and they get overtly schmexual. I have no problem with LGBTQIA plus community. I love and support them. And it wasn't that. It was not the manner of which they were together. It was the context. If you want me to give spoiler reviews of any of the books I talk about, I would love it. I will literally tell you the entire plot line. I do it to Trevor every time I read a book, so let me know if that's something you're interested in. I looked at the reviews on GoodReads, and I'm so glad I wasn't the only one who felt that. Like, it was like hyper-sexualized, and things just got really strange. And then especially towards the latter half of the book, it just like kept, I don't know, I feel like this is a thing with young adult books, is like they'll have drama throughout, and then right around here, the drama gets amplified, and then there's like 20 plot points that are happening that you have to keep up with. It felt super unrealistic and just like made me detach completely from the story. Another thing to note is this is told entirely from letters. So it starts off with Joe and Adam both having an English assignment where they have to have a pen pal in the school. And of course, Joe is in his sophomore class writing to a senior, which in my mind, the teacher's goal was that the senior could kind of be like a mentor and like give them tips and like talk about like what's going on in their life and how they're getting ready for college and stuff. And they fall in love. Listen, I have no problem with that. I love that for them. The thing I have a problem with, though, is how quickly it happens. Like, I mean, it happens pretty fast. And then that certain encounter happens, and then from there it's just this weird thing. And again, Joe is openly gay. Our homeboy Adam, I personally don't think that it talked enough about the conflict that he has internally, because he is this very stereotypical cis white guy who is just a big jock and football player and like all this stuff, and it just, I don't think it did it right. I think it had a really good idea and a really good concept, but it didn't execute it well in my mind. But the writing I really enjoyed, especially Joe in the beginning of this book. I actually really loved his writing style, and then from there it just kind of tanked. And something I was not a fan of was it really felt like they fell into this mold of like a caricature of what the character was supposed to be, if I'm making any sense. I have conflicting emotions about that one, and most of them are not good. Specifically what happens in the latter half, there is a lot of violence, there is physical abuse, there is cheating, there is like just a lot. Particularly, I'm mad about the ending because I don't think it was deserved. If you've read that book, you may disagree with me, but I stand by it. I really think it was not deserved or earned. Let me know if you want a spoiler-filled vlog on any of the books I talk about ever, because at the drop of a hat, one comment, I will freaking do it. That is all I've read so far. Now we have to figure out what to read next. That puts us at 117 books for the year, which means that I need to read 3 more books in this video to conclude and have beaten my writing goal. So, writing, the videos are getting mixed in my head. Reading goal, Taylor. The sad thing is nothing sounds interesting to me, especially on my bookshelf, and I really don't want to read something on my phone. This table is pissing me off. I'm clearly about to start my period too, so it's a rough day, you guys. Also, I think my milk was bad in my coffee. It's not correct. proceeds to drink more. Here's the bad thing, guys. I have a lot of fantasy books, and oh my god, I tell you what, the very last thing that I want to do right now is dive into an excessive fantasy world. The problem is the only other stuff I have is like literary fiction and classics. No part of me wants to read any of that either. That's why I picked up We Contain Multitudes. I don't really have any romances up there. I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I'm not okay. I think I'm gonna go through my library, get a stack of books that I think I could possibly read. Four books that I grabbed because I don't actually know what sounds good. I'll start off strong with the first one I grabbed, which was Sandwich.
For the past 2 decades, Rocky has looked forward to her family's yearly escape to Cape Cod. Their humble beach town rental has been the site of sweet memories, sunny days, great meals, and messes of all kinds, emotional, marital, and, thanks to the cottage's ancient plumbing, septic too.
I gotta stop with the voice, I'm sorry. It just felt right.
This year's vacation with Rocky sandwiched between her half-grown kids and fully aging parents promises to be just as delightful as summers past, except perhaps for Rocky's hormonal bouts of rage and melancholy. Hello, menopause. Her body is changing, her life is too, and then a chain of events sends Rocky into the past, reliving both the tenderness and sorrow of a handful of long ago summers. It's one precious week, everything is in balance, everything is in flux, and when Rocky comes face to face with her family's history and future, she is forced to accept that she can no longer hide her secrets from the people she loves. I'm very interested in just that last paragraph. Nothing really else. But I did try seeing if this book would be something I'd like, so I did read like the first chapter. I actually really liked it. We'll see about that one. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This has been on my TBR for a while, and I picked this up from a little free library. So this and Sandwich, and then one of these other two are going to be the ones I actually read today. 16-year-old Star Carter moves between two worlds, the poor black neighborhood where she lives and the fancy suburban prep school she attends. The uneasy balance between these worlds is shattered when Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend, Khalil, at the hands of a police officer. Khalil was unarmed. Soon afterward, Khalil's death is a national headline. Some are calling him a thug, maybe even a drug dealer and a gangbanger. Star's best friend at school suggests he may have had it coming. When it becomes clear the police have little interest in investigating the incident, protesters take to the streets, and Star's neighborhood becomes a war zone. What everyone wants to know is what really went down that night, and the only person alive who can answer that is Star. But what Star does or does not say could destroy her community. It could also endanger her life. Angie Thomas's searing debut about an ordinary girl in extraordinary circumstances addresses issues of racism and police violence with intelligence, heart, and unflinching honesty. That sounds incredible. I haven't even seen the movie yet, which I really want to, but I wanted to read the book first. I'm thinking that this is what we're gonna do. Next up is Ocean Mother, which is a poetry collection that I picked up at a little library. Ocean Mother weaves together the riveting poems from strands of Ariel Tetono Lowe's memories growing up as a Chamorro girl in Guam, layered with realizations she made across the ocean and upon her return home. In the brave act of sharing, Lowe unravels generations of trauma and begins to heal herself, her family, and her home. Lowe's words cast spells of healing stories as traditions realign in these pages. This is a beautiful and powerful book. Yeah, I'm very interested in this one. I love the ocean already, and my grandmother was actually born in Guam, so it also has like some translations in the back. I think this is going to be the 3 books we actually read today. Did pick up one other book, and that is The Other People. I grabbed this one at the same time I grabbed This Is a Love Story. Me and Natalie both picked up this book. A group of strangers gathered in a mysterious country house are in a race against time to stop a serial killer in this twisty, high-concept thriller with shades of Agatha Christie and Shutter Island. 10 strangers, an old dark house, a killer picking them off one by one, and a missing girl who's running out of time. 10 strangers wake up inside an old locked house. They have no recollection of how they got there. In order to escape, they have to solve the disappearance of a young woman, but a killer also stalks the halls of the house, and soon the body count starts to rise. Who are these strangers? Why were they chosen? Why would someone want to kill them? And who or what lurks in the cellar? Forget what you think you know, because while you can trust yourself, can you really trust the other people? This, I really don't know. I feel like it has potential to be super twisty and interesting, but at the same time, you just never know how things like this are executed. I don't know about that. So I think the 3 books I'm gonna try to read for the rest of the for the rest of this video are going to be these 3. Potentially, I'm probably going to fly through Ocean Mother. If I fly through these, then I might pick up The Other People. Let's get to reading. My dearest
Dearest friends, it is currently December 14th. I could not tell you when the last clip I filmed for this video was. It's been a long time, and I have tried to pick up a couple different books. Last I think I saw you, I tried to pick up Sandwich. I did not like it. So much so that I donated it to a little library. I also picked up this book by Debbie McComber. It is called Jingle All the Way. I tried to read it when I decorated for Christmas. That's how much we've missed in this video. It just is reading like a Hallmark movie. I have not gotten any further than the second chapter in it. I don't ever know if I will, to be honest with you. I just think the cover is cute. It doesn't even really give me like Christmassy vibes. I'm pretty sure we're in Southern California right now. Or is that a different book? That could be a totally different book I'm thinking of. I've tried to read so many books. I also picked up Lightfall, which is a graphic novel, and I read that in one day. That's what I tend to do with graphic novels. And I really, really enjoyed it. My only qualm with it is that it leaves off on such a big cliffhanger, and the other books are not on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm very much toying with the idea of just buying them on Kindle so I have them, because that's how much I really, really enjoyed these characters. The world building was super interesting. I recommend, if you do have Kindle Unlimited, to check this out if you're looking for a new graphic novel. I decided today, when I went to work, to pick up these little Christmassy romance short stories, and I listened to 2 of them. So I think that means technically I beat my reading goal, but I'm not sure. I need to still look at GoodReads and review these 2 books, but I figured I would review them with you right now. Merriment and Mayhem. Girl, this was not an inherently bad story. I will say, if you just want something smutty about a firefighter and a girl who always gets caught in distress, then I recommend it. If you're looking for a book with realistic characters and interesting plot, but if you're looking for just something fun, something you could be like, ooh, insta-lovey, like, it's very caricature, like, type characters, the damsel in distress and the big, beautiful firefighter who comes to save her type vibes. So, like, if it wasn't an audiobook, I definitely would not have finished it. I just was literally working, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll just keep listening to this. It's a very interesting thing to be doing your job. Luckily, all I do is like deep clean, take care of like the grounds of like certain areas of the RV park, and listening to smut. That's a really interesting at 8 in the morning. That was a wild thing for me to have done, but I did it. I don't even know what I'm gonna rate this. Probably 3 stars. It was fine. It wasn't bad, but it's just not... That's literally all it was a smutty good time. So if that's what you're into and that's what you are craving this holiday season, maybe check it out. Did it have Christmas stuff? It had a little bit of Christmas stuff, but it wasn't like inherently Christmassy. That brings us to Cruel Winter with You by the one and only Allie Hazelwood. She just knows how to do it. She just knows how to do it. This short story had an interesting plot line. It had characters I really loved and was rooting for the whole short story. It was really easy to follow the timeline of the events that happen in their relationship. This one is about a girl's best friend's brother. So if you like the best friend brother trope, maybe check it out. It was really sweet. It was nice. It was very childhood friends to lovers. A small miscommunication trope, but it wasn't like badly done. It was really well done. So I could appreciate that. Yeah, I liked it. I think I'm just gonna give it 4 stars, to be honest. It wasn't like mind blowing, but Allie Hazelwood just knows how to write men. I don't know how else to put it, but like she just knows how to get, she knows how to write men. I definitely hit my reading goal. I was at 118 books, and now I'm at 120. I did start reading Love Linked, and this is by an indie author. I think she's an indie author, but I saw her on TikTok. The book she was promoting is coming out soon, but she said like she recommends to read Love Linked first. So I was like, I'll pick it up. That other one sounds really interesting. And so far, I'm really liking this one. I think the characters are really interesting and have a lot of depth to them already. And I'm only in, I think, the 2nd chapter, and it's alternating POVs. So I'm in the female main character's perspective right now, and I'm really liking it. It's a sweet little romance. It's about like a dating app, which normally would so not be something that I personally would ever read. Definitely think like if I was looking in a bookstore and I picked it up, it wouldn't move me to really want to read it, but I'm surprisingly really liking it. So I look forward to sharing more about that book in the future. I won't lie to you guys. The main reason that I was rushing to finish my reading challenge so soon is because honestly, I'm probably not going to read again until I don't even know. I'm in a reading slump. Number 1, Venture Beyond comes out in January, number 2, and number 3, I'm going to be working on the 3rd book, which is going to take up a lot of my brain power when it comes to my reading goals and books I want to be reading soon. I'm going to be going through them a lot slower. And so realistically, reading 120 books next year is just so not in the cards that the only real reason I think I even hit that number was because of those short stories and Kindle Unlimited audiobooks. Like without that, I think the number would have been in half, to be honest. So I highly recommend audiobooks, but then utilizing Kindle Unlimited's audiobooks that it has. There are some really, really good ones on there. I would love to know what your reading goal was, and if you did hit your reading goal, if you didn't, and what your reading goal is for next year. Make sure to give this video a like if you liked it. Pretty please, that just helps me out. And then if you could subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified every single time that I post a new video, I would love that. I have been doing more premieres for my videos, and hanging out with you guys when they go live is so much fun. I love seeing your reactions to when these videos go live. So if you're here during the premiere right now, drop a heart emoji in the comments, because I noticed the live chat isn't like a comment. So once this video ends, drop a heart emoji and I'll know you were there for the premiere. Or I guess that means even after the premiere, you could probably drop a heart emoji. I'm just gonna trust you. I'm just gonna trust you. Thank you again so much for being here and for supporting me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!